Hello all and welcome back. This is episode 3 out of my 4-episode vitamin D mini-series, and in this episode we're going to be discussing absorption and bioavailability. Now, what do I mean by that? Absorption and bioavailability quite literally means how much of the actual substance can we actually absorb fully in its activated form when ingested and processed by the intestines. Now, one key mineral and one key vitamin are necessary in order to fully activate this process for vitamin D. Now, I will be covering these in separate videos, far more in depth, as they both do many different things in health and disease. However, in this episode, I would just like to directly discuss their functions with respect to vitamin D. So let's start with vitamin K2. As we previously discussed in the other episodes, vitamin D helps absorb calcium in from the diet. However, we want to make sure that this calcium isn't being built up in the arteries. This is where vitamin K2 comes into the equation. Vitamin K2 helps direct the calcium into bones and teeth and away from the arteries. So in the safety episode that I did based on vitamin D, we did discuss that there were 4 people out of one of the studies who took the liquid form of vitamin D and did have some symptoms of toxicity, which is hyperkalemia, which is build-up of calcium in the bloodstream. This is what vitamin K2 helps prevent. It helps direct the calcium out of the blood and the arteries and back into teeth and bones, which is where we want it to go. Magnesium, on the other hand, acts as a cofactor to enzymes that vitamin D requires in order to be converted into its active form, calcitrol. Magnesium also facilitates vitamin D's binding to its transport proteins and the expression of vitamin D receptors in cells. As I may have touched upon in the first episode, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. This means that in order to fully absorb your vitamin D, you want to take it with a fatty meal or something that contains fat. So you don't want to be taking this on an empty stomach, and also vitamin K2 is also a fat-soluble vitamin, so you want to make sure that when you take these supplements, you are taking them on a full stomach with some kind of fatty meal in order to fully absorb them. So the 3 key takeaways that I want you to take away from this video. The first one is that K2 directs calcium into teeth and bones and directs it away from the arteries and the bloodstream. The second is that magnesium activates vitamin D into its active form. And the third is that vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin and therefore needs to be taken with fat. Thank you very much for watching, and in the next episode I'm going to be discussing the health effects of vitamin D on things like cancer, the immune system and much more. Thank you for sticking around, and that was Science Made Simple.